Cordelia looked over the bride with what seemed like genuine concern, a far cry from the manic fascination she demonstrated to me. The bride sat slumped in her chair, crying forlornly. She seemed completely unaware of anything around her. I couldn't reach the toolbox from the balcony. Whoa! As I rounded the corner of the balcony, I saw that the walkway had dropped away, the mortar crumbling after decades of neglect. The ground was a long way down. I assessed whether the railing would be safe to climb. With the slippery ironwork and crumbling masonry, the answer was obviously no. But I didn't have the luxury of safety. Here goes nothing. Hauling myself onto the roof from the ornamental railings, I realized there was no easy path to get higher. The roof tiles ranged from loose and dangerous to soggy and dangerous. Either way, I wasn't going to be able to climb them. As I approached the lightning rod, I started to feel the hair on the back of my neck standing up. That was a close one. Fortunately, the lightning bolt had hit the lightning rod instead of me, breaking it from its socket and sending the rod tumbling to the ground below. It looked like someone had already intended to start fixing the roof. I looked inside the toolbox and took the only thing it held, a rusty old pair of pliers. There was nothing. I definitely didn't have the natural balance needed to walk across the cable unaided. Walking into the cellar, I was hit by the pungent smell of rotting wood and mildew. 3 decades without upkeep hadn't been kind to this section of the house, and it was now knee-deep in floodwater. Decades of abandonment had taken their toll on the now flooded cellar. The fuse box was affixed to the wall. With all the damp in the cellar, I questioned how safe it was. It was a small paper label used to mark which fuse was which. The label read, magnetic carriage, theater rotation, orrery track, barrel lift, electrograph, lightning rods. It was a small paper label used to mark which fuse was which. The wire had corroded into the fuse box. I couldn't budge it with my hands. I pulled at the wire with the pliers and managed to dislodge it from the fuse box. I hooked up the lightning rod wire to the socket, but with the lightning rod broken, I wasn't going to get any power. Wine racks adorned each wall of the cellar. Belmore Manor must have been quite the spirited place once upon a time. The debutante oozed southern charm as sweet as peach pie, if that pie contained a secret dose of cyanide. Good evening, miss.
Oh, another fine young gentleman.
My name's Murphy McCallan. Pleased to meet you all.
Back off, Peanut. Yeah, keep walking. We were talking to the lady first.
Now, boys, we must be welcoming to our new friend. My name is Tallulah LaRue. I expect you've heard of me. My daddy owns the LaRue Oil Exchange. We're the richest family this side of the Mississippi.
But don't be getting any ideas. Tallulah, don't you think this gentleman is a little beneath you? He looks so poor, he probably waves a popsicle around and calls it air conditioning.
Let's not be rude to him just because he's less fortunate. You boys be welcoming and introduce yourselves.
If we must. I am Humphrey Tallulah. And I am Orville Tallulah, of the Tallulah Textiles Company.
I think you made the pants I'm wearing. What's that in your hand, Miss LaRue?
This is my invitation to the wedding. It allows me to bring one guest with me, but I seem to have made a teensy tiny mistake. I've invited both boys all the way out here to Devil's Rock when I can only take one of them into the wedding. Now both of these fine fellows are here and want to attend with me, and I just don't know who I should pick.
You mean you two don't have an invitation?
We may not know the Belmores, but we do know this southern magnolia before us. We were brought to Devil's Rock by passion.
I was brought to Devil's Rock by taxi. If you're not using the invitation, perhaps I could take it off your hands?
I don't think so, knucklehead. Miss LaRue is going to need that invitation for when I accompany her. Over my dead body? Have you seen yourself? You're already dead.
These two gentlemen seem pretty heated.
I just hope it doesn't come to blows. I'd be happy to marry either of these gentlemen one day, if only I could choose between them.
If you did end up marrying one of them, would that make your name Tallulah Tallulah?
That's right, and my middle name is Beulah. Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
How are you going to decide who to take to the waltz, Miss LaRue?
I just don't know if I could decide. I think I'll have to leave it to the boys to decide for me.
Choose me, Tallulah. I'm the one who inherited our family's good looks, I assure you. Good looks? Your reflection hides when you walk past a mirror. I have the southern elegance she desires. Elegance? You have all the elegance of a drunken pelican. I believe the lady would be better suited for a man of my sophistication. Sophistication? You have all the sophistication of a rodeo clown. It's my bravery that she needs. Bravery? You'd run away from a June bug. If you think yourself so brave, then we must put it to the test. Brother, I challenge you to a duel. Not if I challenge you first.
Gee, I wouldn't want a duel to take place because of little old me. But if that's how things have to be, let's get the guns on the table, boys.
McCallan, you shall be the adjudicator.
I shall?
I'm glad you've agreed.
What exactly does that entail?
In order for the duel to be fair, an independent third party must load the pistols and declare the victor.
But I've never loaded a pistol before.
Don't worry, McCallan. A donkey with a lobotomy could do it. You have at least half a chance.
It was a scrap of paper listing the correct order for loading the pistols. The instructions read, powder, shot, ramrod, aim. Fire! I didn't need to pick up the pistols except to load them. It was a leather case filled with gunpowder. One at a time, I poured the powder into the muzzle of the pistols. I then dropped the shot into each muzzle. Finally, I patted the contents down with the ramrod.
No pussyfooting around here, boys. I want to see some action. If you miss, you're not the man for me. Fire! Well?
I've been hit! Me too!
In any other situation, this would have been a tragedy, but it quickly became clear that a duel to the death wouldn't be conclusive when the duelists were both already dead.
Oh, neither of you missed? Well, sorry, boys, but I think that's a draw. What a terrible waste of everybody's time.
Miss LaRue, would you mind if I borrowed your parasol?
Don't be silly, Murphy. It's a beautiful evening outside.
Didn't you see the lightning?
A parasol's to protect you from the sun, silly. Carry this out in a lightning storm and you might... Actually, go right ahead and take it. You have fun.
The glint in her eye sent a shiver through me. That wasn't going to work. From down on the back... As a child, I'd once watched a traveling circus act calling himself the Great Balancerio amble his way across a high wire with only a parasol to keep him steady. With absolutely zero practice and infinitely more chance of death, it was now my turn to try it. Oh well, here goes. Whoa, oh, oh, oh! That was a close one. While I may have lost the parasol, I did have one thing on Balancerio. I accomplished my stunt without having to wear a leotard. It was a storage trunk, left undisturbed for decades. Using the feather duster, I began sweeping away the spiders and their webs from a relatively safe distance. Now that it was free of spiders, I opened the trunk. Searching through the trunk, I found blankets, bedding, tablecloths, and tucked up in the corner, a delicate lace veil. It was an ornate wedding veil made of delicate lace. Looking through the telescope, all I could see was a blur. I soon realized why. A telescope without a lens wasn't going to be much use. The globe looked more decorative than functional, like a chihuahua with a bow tie. I placed the veil on the dresser. There were 4 items left. As I concentrated on the phonograph in the mirror, it began to sound like I could hear its music through the reflection itself. It was the wedding march. It was an untouched slice of wedding cake. It was a simple gold ring. It was a bridal veil made of delicate, intricately woven lace. It was an electric machine used to raise and lower barrels from the floor of the cellar to a hatch up at ground level. I needed to use the switch to operate the barrel lift. I flipped the switch, but nothing happened. It seemed the barrel lift lacked power. I took the handful of candles from on top of the fuse box. I couldn't do anything with it. Lightning rods. I'd connected the lightning rod's wire to the socket. I'd connected the lightning rod... With extraordinary fortune, the porcelain chamber pot fitted neatly into the decorative ironwork of the barrel lift. Now that I'd risked my life to get across the cable, I didn't want to do it a second time by trying to go back. With a spark of inspiration that worried even me, I decided to test whether I could improvise a replacement for the lightning rod, breaking all manner of building codes in the process. With a surge of electricity from the lightning strike, the barrel lift came to life, disappearing into the water, then rising up to the hatch above. So this was how they loaded barrels in and out of the cellar. Held by the barrel lift, the chamber pot plunged beneath the surface, scooping up the murky floodwater, then carrying it to the ground-level hatch above. With time, the jury-rigged machine began bailing the cellar like a sailor trying to save a sinking dinghy. was a hand truck, used for shuffling the barrels around the cellar. The cellar was lined with barrel after barrel. The Belmores must have known how to party. It was a Brobdingnagian barrel that put all the other barrels to shame. It was an empty soda bottle I'd found on the beach. With the bottle positioned beneath it, I turned the spigot. The grotesque face began spewing out rum like it was 2 a.m. on Bourbon Street. The wine racks were I emptied the rum onto the thorns and waited. Delicately, I cut the stem and picked up the last rose in the house. I placed the rose in the vase. There were 3 items left. I refilled the bottle, but as the rum neared its neck, the flow turned to dribbles. That must have been the last of it.
Did I hear gunshots through there? It's like being back at Alameda during the war.
What happened there? A battle?
No, my second wedding. The father of the bride didn't appreciate me canoodling with the maid of honor and got all the locals to run me out of town. Talk about a shotgun wedding.
I dropped the candles into the empty pot hanging in the fireplace. They soon began to melt and bubble. Double, toil and trouble.
Goodness gracious! That isn't more satanic sorcery, is it?
I'm sorry, I was just quoting Macbeth.
Well, don't.
The trophy room was warmed by the fireplace, within which hung a small brass pot. Carefully, I dipped the record into the molten candle wax. Once pulled out, the thin layer of wax rapidly cooled, leaving me with a blank, reset record. It was a cylindrical record with a new layer of wax coating it, ready for recording. Can I top you off, Colonel?
Oh, excellent. What do you have there?
Belmore rum, aged 33 years.
Wonderful. Fill her up. I must prefer rum to that hoity-toity champagne they serve. Rum is a man's drink. I'll save this for the toast later.
Do you think that's a good idea, Colonel?
I certainly do. You know, Foskin, I've had about enough of your sanctimonious prattling. I try to sit here and enjoy myself, and all I hear is the droning of a long-winded clergyman.
I'm not droning. You just don't like to face the truth. My sanctimonious prattling, as you so ungratefully call it, is all that stands between your unrighteous life and a subsequent consignment to the fiery gates.
You know, that must be it. It's a revelation, an epiphany. All these years I've been thinking I've been in limbo, wondering why I haven't moved on to the pearly gates or the raging fires, and now I've realized.
What have you realized?
I must be in hell right now, and listening to you is my torture. Well, that's it. I can't bear any more. There! Now I can't hear a word you say.
Infantile.
Well, I should certainly hope she does.
Looking out over the tranquility of the gardens, its magnolias lit by moonlight, nothing could take my attention away from the macabre sight dangling from the oak tree. A hanged skeleton, its wedding suit little more than tattered rags clinging to bone, and its skull seemingly watching me with hollow, unblinking eyes. An eternal groom without a bride. The record may have been reset, but it still had no music recorded on it. With a bit of improvisation, I have fixed the ear trumpet to the phonograph in place of the broken horn. Now, I just needed some music to play. Good evening, Ezra.
Hello, Murphy.
When you say Southern Belle from Hell, do you mean Tallulah?
That's her, the Black Widow of the Bayou.
What's wrong with her?
Well, she has a reputation, doesn't she?
A reputation for what?
Murder.
Tallulah is a murderess?
Now, don't be getting me caught up in a slander suit, but behind those demure, blush cheeks is the mind of an absolute psychopath. She's been engaged 3 times. Each of her fiancés died in ridiculous circumstances.
Did she murder them for money?
That can't even be the motive. You'd think she'd go ahead and marry them, so all their worldly goods become each other's, right? But her family's already got more money than honeybees got buzz. And she finishes them off before they've even booked a venue. I think she just does it for the thrill.
Someone should really tell her about wing walking. I should get going.
See you around, Murphy.
I placed the freshly reset record back on the recording machine. Excuse me, Ezra, could you play the wedding march?
A request? Sure thing, Murphy.
Thank you very much. I clicked off the machine and picked up the newly recorded record. I placed the record into the phonograph. Now I just needed the remaining wedding items before I started it up. I didn't want to play the music until I had all the wedding items ready for Abigail.